So actually it's not always what you do that hurts, but what you choose not to do. Like I briefly touched upon it. Most of the time in investment world, what happens that when you are doing something and you get a result instantly, where do you get it? You get it in day trading or trading very fast. Long term, not many of you would have experienced what happens with long term. And that's why you try to get a feedback of what you do, and what you avoid, you will never get a feedback. So you will never know what is good or bad. Now, let's take you are walking by a store and you have got money with you. There is one store which says this BlackBerry is available for 15,000 rupees, and you are really looking for a good PDA. You think it's a great deal over there because in the market it is very expensive. Would you buy the BlackBerry or not? Or would you wait to learn about other models? What would each one of you do? Buy. How many are waiting? Waiting. And how many would buy? Buy. From the noise, I thought there were majority of buyers. But when the hands went up, a few decisions changed. Now, you are the same sort of a situation. You are passing by the same store, you enter the same store, and you have a BlackBerry on sale, then you have an iPhone on sale, and you have to buy any one of these two. Both are at a very good price. How would you take this decision? iPhone is also a steal, BlackBerry is also a steal, or would you wait to learn for about other models? How many would buy an iPhone? How many would buy a BlackBerry? How many would still wait to learn about more models? Majority, they think when given more choices, they thought that we'll wait. When you had only one choice, it was either this or that, everyone thought, okay, either I buy or I don't buy. But when you have more choices, what you start doing is you getting into the decision paralysis mode. Let's think about this quiz. You have inherited from your uncle rupees 50 lakhs on the condition that you invest in the capital markets. Now, will you invest in bonds, stocks, mutual funds, provident fund? Now, this will actually depend upon each one's ability to take a risk or not to take a risk. Now, what happens is, if I ask you this, people will say, okay, it's 50 lakhs is there, I'll buy this. Accordingly, you will take your asset allocation approach. However, if you inherit from your uncle rupees 50 lakhs in a portfolio of stocks, will you leave the portfolio as it is, sell the stocks and invest in bonds, sell the stocks and place the money in PPF, sell the stocks and place it in mutual funds? Now, when you have this sort of a situation, if your uncle has been a very successful person in the stock markets, you would normally leave the portfolio as it is, because you don't want to, you would be anchored to the fact that he's done an exceedingly good job. If this is a good portfolio, why should I reshuffle it? When you have the money and when you have to buy, an investment decision becomes very difficult. Why I have put this is because a lot of you people would be getting into the financial arena. You would be going to different types of organizations. Suppose if you are aspiring to be a fund manager and a star fund manager has left and you are going to take his place, you will encounter a problem like this. Because if he's done an excellently good job, for you, your decision paralysis will come into play and you will try to see that you maintain the status quo. Now, if your uncle had been a gambler all throughout his life, and he would have made money in gambling, and if he had a portfolio of stock, your idea of really looking at this would be very different. Because for you, it would be a free money for him, a free money for you, and can I do something like that? You will not associate your decision making with him, because you will think that, well, he's got so much money, he's just put into stocks, and he was always gambling it, so whether the portfolio which I have inherited from him, is it really right or not? And at that point of time, your decision would be a little bit more tweaked towards taking, okay, let me revamp the portfolio. Now, why does decision paralysis come? Why are we not able to take a decision? Firstly, it's because of you don't want to look like a joker. Because every time we are always trying to guard our self-esteem. That what if we go wrong? That's why in the stock markets also, everyone will tell you about their winning streaks. Nobody will tell you about their losing streaks, because nobody wants to look like a fool. The fear of going wrong is very strong. That what if I go wrong? That's why we normally in life, we don't take decisions, because at every point of time we are always worried. What if I go wrong? What if it does not happen? But we miss out on the most important fact is that if you take a decision, there's a 50% chance of you going right and a 50% chance of you going wrong. But when you don't take a decision, you lose that 50% chance of going right. That's why in life, at every point of time, you have to decide what to do. Never put anything on the back burner, or at that point of time, you have to ask yourself, are you getting into the decision paralysis mode? Even if you don't decide, even that's a decision. But your decision paralysis should not hinder your progress of going forward in life. Secondly, people maintain the decision paralysis or the status quo because the possibility of making a loss. Yesterday, when we did loss aversion, a lot of people did not want to do certain things but wanted to flip the coin, because let me not do anything, let me flip the coin, let's see what comes with that. Or even if you chose a profit, it was a decision because you knew that I will be much better off having my 1,000 rupees, I'll have 1,500 rupees. The possibility of making a loss, the loss aversion in us is so strong, because as I told you, pain over a period of time becomes terrifying and pleasure becomes boring. That's why when you are into a decision, when you are about to make a loss, or if you have a fear of making loss, there are two ways to it. One is that you can make a loss. One is that there is only a fear of making loss. These two things are very different. When you did the quizzes yesterday on loss aversion, you knew that you would make a loss or you would do this. But when the fear is there, that means your mind is clouded. You are not able to make a decision. So what you do is, okay, let me maintain the status quo. And the desire to avoid looking foolish. Because many a times when you make a decision, especially in the stock markets, you go wrong and people feel, or you also feel, that you have gone wrong, and are you foolish enough to do this? But the fun in the stock market is that at any one point of time, you will look very intelligent. At any other point of time, you will look very foolish. Because, as I explained yesterday, I may go back onto yesterday because I want that to be in your mind what a stock market performance is all about. That's why you may find that I am repeating certain things, but even after my 14 sessions, after repeating, you will make the same mistakes, I know that. So, please bear with my repeating. It's because I want to grill it in your minds. Now, when we started, what is a stock market? What is a stock market? One day, The stock market is in a very jovial mood and it's in a drunk mood, willing to give you stocks at only certain rates. Next day, the sentiment changes and it has got a hangover. It is willing to give you the same stock at any price. Now, all your decisions, if they are dependent upon how drunk or how irrational the market is, then at points you are going to feel that, well, I am making a mistake. At points you are going to feel that, well, I am right. Like I gave you my incidents in the tech boom, doing everything right, but I was being proved wrong. Now I was being proved wrong by a market which was intoxicated. I thought that 16,000 rupees for an Infosys stock, that means it was available at around 200 times earnings. I thought, no, it's not a right price to pay. I was not paying it. But if I told my clients, you sell that stock, next day it would go up, and I was told that I was a fool because I did not understand. No, it's not that I did not understand. I understood something, but the person who was judging it was very different. The same case was how I entered the stock market. I told you about my story. The person who was judging it, he did not understand it. And I want all of you to have total conviction in your abilities, because we always start with self-doubt, and decision paralysis is something which goes on reinforcing that self-doubt. If you believe in yourself that you are doing the right thing, if you believe that you have the knowledge, you have taken the right steps, then there is no point in just getting out of it, because a majority of the people are doing that. You will get into the financial markets, you will get into multinational organizations, and here is something I really want to tell you about, is how are you going to deal with those sort of decision making which would come. How many of you have got your placements with this so-called big multinationals and all over here? Okay, good. So no, there's nothing wrong. You'll get your salaries, so don't worry about it. But how are you going to encounter? Because you are learning something. At every stage, your conviction is going to be challenged. Finance, money market, operations, or stockbroking, portfolio management, is all a profession actually. When it is a profession, it's a profession like a lawyer or a doctor, whatever. When it is a profession, you have to do what is good for the client. And when it is turned into a business, as it has just now, then what drives it is something what you are not supposed to do. Because when it is a business, the idea is, well, you do anything, get the client to trade, get the client to do anything as long as money comes in. So your success is going to be judged by how many clients you will fool and get them into the trap. Your success is not going to be, I would say, judged by how good an advice you give it. Can you imagine now you are going to be there, the markets are down and out, the markets are just going up. You will have some sort of, I would say, targets. You try to get so many people to invest with us, you try to get so many people to buy our products there. At that point of time, you're going to have a dilemma. That what I've learned, if the markets are going up, how can I tell my clients to buy stocks? How can I sell a product to him when I know that it's going to go up? You have one fight, they're saying, where your heart is telling you that I cannot fool him. On the other side, you'll have a mind which will be telling you, well, you got the targets over here, you got your salary over here. If you get thrown out, what are you going to do? Now, my friends, this is the biggest challenge you will face. And every one of them is facing that challenge around you whenever you go there. And that is where you require a lot of moral courage, of character. Well, I choose not to do that. Because otherwise, at the end of the day, you would not have learnt everything. Because all these big multinationals, they are based on a profit figure. Your boss would be there, he's applied to you, he will give you a talk. Oh, you got to be doing this. Oh, please, you stick around. And within 2 months, you will find out that his biodatas are also facing all that. Now, I have gone through all these processes. I've gone through all this where I have seen this. And that's why I'm telling you that it's very important that you guys believe in your own selves. Your belief, because if you believe that because the job is there and that's why you'll make money, it's not going to happen. I'm going to take a session on how you deal with money also. But since you are going to take your jobs and going to the outside world, decide that if you can do it by yourself, if you are smart enough, if you don't want the environment to control you, do you have the courage, do you have the guts to do something on your own? And most of the people who have really made it in life is because they had this sort of courage. And most of you may not be able to do it, may not be able to withstand the pressures, which doing it on your own would accord to you. No problem. Be in an organization and try to change the way things are. Even that is, and I know of people who have really changed value systems in such multinational when none existed. And over a period of time, they also lost their jobs. That also I'll tell you. Because when the system is too strong, it becomes very difficult to fight. So be there a martyr, go outside and do things on your own. If you are a good stock picker, if you know fishing, would you really go outside this thing and take a job with a fisherman or a fisherwoman? You're not going to do that because you know fishing. Here your idea, my idea is once you understand behavioral finance, once you understand your own self, you can go, if you know fishing, you can go fishing. There's no point to be, I would say, enamored by the environment pressure which it brings. Always be willing to take risks. Risk is a part of life, and if you are willing to take risk, you will start learning. It's a learning process. Taking a comfort zone, going and taking a good MBA and everything is definitely a learning process. But taking risks is the best learning process you can have. As I told you, you go right or wrong, you are going forward. IT stocks. I'll talk to you about a few of my clients' episodes. During the IT boom, stocks was just hitting the roof. Any sort of valuations, people were just willing to buy. There was, how many of you would remember that era also, this thing? I think quite a lot would remember. Now, Y2K was a problem that time, that Y2K was coming. And everyone was under the impression that when this Y2K comes, what should happen? Y2K. So, there was an euphoria that every IT company, which is in the Y2K business, will be able to survive, they'll be able to only survive, the rest thing will go away. Then the internet was also taking shape. So everyone thought that everyone would be on the internet and bricks and mortar would be dead. At that point of time, if you open the newspapers, wherever you went, everyone was thinking that the old world economy will not be there, there will be a new world economy. Shopping, why would people go and shop if it can be easily done? They think from your comforts of your computer. You argued with them, but how can you see a fabric? How can you feel it? There were certain softwares being shown on the internet. Well, you can always have the color, have an idea of the color, this, that and all. And every argument which was forwarded was that the old bricks and mortar was dead and the new economy is generating. And crazy things were happening in the markets that time. Time Warner was bought over by, what was that? I don't recollect. AOI. AOI. Now, it was such a big thing, and a small company just comes and takes over. Now, when such sort of availability heuristics, the thing comes in, what happens is, you also start believing in what is happening. Everyone was under that impression. And during that time, in the stock markets, everyone was just only talking about technology. If I have this technology stock, I will be able to do that. Infosys, I did a study on Infosys, that if the way people were talking about, that it was growing at about, when I did that study was about 80 times P and all, that if Infosys really grows at 80 times P, within the next 5 years, it will be a $1 trillion company, they think, which will be the size of US GDP at that point of time. So Infosys would be as good as US GDP. Was it possible? Now all these things were there in the minds of people. They were all reading it. But at that point of time, they did not want to understand this. They only wanted to go. Why? Because they were caught in this web of euphoria. That if a lot of people around you are talking the same things, then what happens? That you start believing in that. Now one question for you. What do you feel tomorrow? You must have all read the newspapers. Tomorrow, what do you think? The interest rates will go up or down? Up. Why? Now nobody knows. Now when you told up, you are just guessing it is up. It may not go up, it may not go down also. But what has happened is, the newspaper which came this morning, if you opened up your TV channels, everyone was talking about this, so you also start talking about this. Now there was this client of mine during the IT boom. As luck would have it, his father had invested in Infosys and Wipro, and those stocks were going up, and they were really going up. So this guy, who was just a lower middle class person, happened to be sitting on good money, and he started believing in the technology sector so much that he had started with an initial capital of about 40 to 50 lakhs, which his father had, which he had inherited because Infosys and Wipro just came up. And he sold them off, and then he started buying technology stocks. This portfolio of 60 lakhs, when it was 3 crores, 3 crores was a lot of money. Even today it's a lot of money, that time also it's a lot of money. When it was 3 crores, he came to me. I told, why don't you sell this stock? Sell your portfolio, because now you had Wipro, you had Infosys, those were good stocks. Now you are holding DSQ, Pentafor and everything. No, that time I had only 2 stocks, now I've got 8 stocks, and all those 8 stocks, see, I have grown. I told, yes, you have grown in money, but if you ask me, you have not grown in in the stocks which you have purchased, although the numbers are more. I told him, you sell off these stocks. He comes to me after 6 months, and guess, his portfolio was 6 crores. I told him, now it is really a time to get out of this market. You have bought only technology stocks. First you had a good balanced portfolio, now you have got only technology. His belief in technology had increased so much because he was making profits. The profits were giving him a sign that he was doing the right things. 6 crores, it went up to 9 crores. Mind you, these are not figures 3, 6 and 9, but it was really a fact that it was about 9 crores. Told him, again you sell off. No. He's saying, no, I can't sell off now, just now, because what if it goes to 12 crores? I told him, even if it goes to 12 crores or 20 crores or 50 crores, they think, imagine, will you be able to make this kind of money? He was a normal person working, they think, in some textile Mulji Jetha market business. So it was not something great. He was an accountant over there. So I told, in your salary also you will never make this kind of money. Ultimately what happened was, the markets tanked. Under decision paralysis, he could not sell his stocks, and ultimately that man lost so much of money, because later I came to know that he had even borrowed money to buy technology stocks. because his belief had become so strong. And that I was always under the impression that his stock value, this thing was going up, but I never knew that he was always borrowing that and putting it up. Ultimately, he had to leave Bombay and he had to settle down in hometown in Ahmedabad. Now, these are not only one or two stray cases. These are cases all over, because when you are dealing with money, it's very important that you have your self-discipline place. Another thing which is very important is UTI. How many people know about UTI, Unit Trust of India? Well, it was started in 1964. We were a socialistic pattern of society. So it was a mutual fund which would guarantee people an income, because it was not about anything about market economy. It had started as an open-ended fund. Now, open-ended fund and you guarantee, both things cannot happen, because people come in markets. It was a mutual fund. It has to be judged according to what the mark-to-market prices are there. Things were going on well as long as it was controlled, because in 70s when I entered the stock market, UTI could never sell. Because if the market came to know that it has sold, the market would just tank, because it was the only biggest holder of stocks. There was nobody else who could be there. There were no FIs, there were no other mutual funds, nothing. There were only retail investors and the UTI. When it bought, if the government wanted to take the market up, they would buy through their 13, 14 brokers. The top would be in the market and the markets would just go up. That's how the markets used to be manipulated. And there was only one person who was buying stocks, giving dividends, irrespective whether the NAV was there or not. Then times changed. 91, the liberalization process started. And there had to be competition coming from other funds and all. Now, in the initial stages, the markets were very up during 1994. After the Harshan Mehta boom also, the markets were just booming, because a lot of foreign investment money was coming into this country. That time, the NAV of UTI was somewhere around 16 to 17 rupees. And during the same time, if they would have converted, according to what Deepak Parekh told, that you converted into not a guaranteed scheme, because with this sort of other funds coming in, you try to get it into the market form, tell people that this is the NAV, is just now is the right NAV, take your money back, or now you are going to be with mark to market. There are no guaranteed returns, nothing. Decision paralysis was with the government. How can we do that? They didn't do anything, and ultimately today very few people would remember that UTI is a fund, except from the advertisements, because there was a time where UTI was everything. Thirdly, decision paralysis comes is when you are holding mutual funds or stocks which are going up. When these stocks are just going up, you have again decision paralysis, because do you want to sell and take your money, or let us hold on till the prices are going up? So we come to the most important part, is that at any point of time, you have to understand what you want to do. Don't be bothered. Yesterday also, when we had certain questions, when the risk of braving the storm was there, that was the question to be asked. Do I want do I want to take the risk of braving the storm? Not whether the tickets were complimentary or whether I had paid for it. Most of the times, in our analysis, we don't ask ourselves the right questions. Now, if you ask the right questions, even as regards your investments, I had bought this stock, I am getting this stock, I am able to achieve my goal. Have I done the right thing? Can I do this? And then go and take the decision. Why are we always reluctant to change? Is it because of decision paralysis? Why we are so frightened about the change? At every point of time, whenever there is a question of change, The answer lies in the endowment effect. Once you understand the endowment effect, everything will be crystal clear for you that the flow which we started from loss aversion to sunk cost to status quo to endowment effect, it completes the prospect theory. And start with a few short stories. There's a broker and a client. Of course, you guys would be also doing the same thing with your broker. What's the price of Tisco? The broker says it's 300 rupees. The client says, okay, I want to sell Tisco. You sell it at 305 rupees. The client after half an hour, the broker after half an hour phones up the client. Well, it's 305, should I sell it? No, wait, I think the market is going up, so just increase the limit to 310. The market is definitely going up. When the 310 comes, the broker again phones him up. Now shall we sell off this stock? You wanted to sell at 300, 310. No, you just wait. The broker says, the market has already gone up by 60 points and you wanted to sell at 300. Today it is 310. Why don't you sell it off? No, let's wait for some time. We'll say, do one thing. Don't even phone me. Put a limit of 315 rupees. But if you feel that you can phone me at 315 rupees, broker says, okay. After some time, the market goes down to 308 rupees. The broker phones him up. Now I am definitely. Now this is a normal reaction which is coming, but we will not sell because as it is 310, we wanted this thing, we thought of selling. Don't worry. Ultimately, the market closes down at 95 rupees and the broker has not been able to sell his stock. Phones up the client. The client says, don't worry. Tomorrow it will again go up to 310. It had gone today. Don't worry. Tomorrow give me a call in the morning when the market opens. This is one story. Second story is, there's this guy named Raju. One day he was passing by the electronic shop and I saw a fantastic stereo. And he went into the shop. He liked the stereo. What is it? It's a good piece. It's a good show piece. The salesman told him it's a good piece. Don't worry about it. You just take it over there with you and keep it in your house for 15 days. You just got to sign this. I know you stay over here. I know you. You got to just sign this. After 15 days, you can send it back to me. Raju was very happy. His exams had just got over and he wanted some entertainment at home. He took the stereo, put it in his hall. It looked very good. His mother, hey Raju, I never gave you the money. This thing, how did you buy the stereo? Mom, don't worry. This thing, I've just bought it on a trial and we can just keep it for 15 days and then I'll give it back. Raju, how expensive it is? Well, it's only 15,000 rupees. Oh no, that's a lot of money for us. Yes, but mom, we are not going to buy it. We are just using it for 15 days and it's free. You sure that there are no catches? He told, no, nothing. He'll take it back after 15 days. Don't have to worry about it. But just remind me on the 14 days, so I'll go and give it back to him. They enjoy the stereo in the house. The mom also listens to the music. Everything is going fine. On the 14th day, Raju says, Mom, now I'll have to go to saying, give it back. I know, 14 days. How much did you tell me it was? 15,000. But Raju, now what will happen now? You have taken this corner since last 15 days. We are saying it really looks good in our hall and I think the music was good. And then they started every argument to see that the stereo stays in the house. And the mother gives him 15,000 rupees. On the 15th day, he goes over there and tells the shop owner, well, I'm going to buy this. You take the 15,000 rupees. This is second story. Third story. There's this couple who had a date which was fixed. On the last day of the date, about 3 hours before that, the boy says, oh sorry, I just can't make it to the date. Why? Well, I've got to go to an analyst meet because I've got a stock which I have bought and I want to know about the company. So the girl tells him, but you bought the stock, there's an analyst meet, your friends are going, you can learn about it. Why do you want to break our date? Saying, no, it's very important because I'm holding the stock and that's why I have to listen to what they say. If they say it's bad, will you sell it? He's saying, no, I'm holding the stock, so I have to go over there. And he breaks the date with the girl. This is the third story. Then the fourth story. This is a true story of a fund manager during the tech boom. He was very successful in the IT boom because he had bought all the IT stocks in the initial stages. So he was early with the bandwagon when it was going up. Then the stock prices were going down. There was this company in Hyderabad which stock from 30 rupees, it had gone up to 10,000 rupees in a span of 1.5 years. Would anybody remember the name? It was Visual Soft. It was 10,000 rupees. In about 1.5 to 2 years, from 30 rupees it has gone there. The markets in 2000 February, the company held an analyst meet at Hyderabad. Company gave a warning signal to all the investors who were present over there, all fund managers and analysts and all. Actually, it was an analyst meet, but this fund manager who was so bullish on this stock, he had also gone there. Now, believe me, he had so much of that stock that the Visual Soft company, if you would have phoned them up, they would have gone to his office and explained to him everything. He was also present over there. And the company management gave a strong signal that things were not good. It were not as rosy as they seemed to be. They were losing clients, times were changing, the industry was changing. All the analysts were in a gloom because everyone who had gone there, they were holding shares of Visual Soft, what will happen? And this fund manager was going, he was a very senior fund manager. He was going to the analyst and convincing them that, no, I don't think the management is understanding their own business. I was in the US and I know what this other thing, there is no slowdown, nothing of that sort. I know this thing, it was 10,000, today it is around 6,000. I don't think we should worry about it because it's a great stock, we should not be selling. All the analysts are asking him that the management itself is not very bullish about the stock, about the business. Now, how do you say that? You say, no, the management doesn't understand that. And the stock afterwards went down to 30 rupees. Just remember these stories. And let's take a quiz. You have been gifted. I have gifted you a souvenir jug which is 100 in the marketplace. You got it all free. Now, someone wants to buy it from you and he is willing to pay 100, 80, 70, 50. Now, how much would you sell your jug for? You have got it free. This guy is willing to pay you anything, this thing. How many would sell it at 50? One at 50. How many would sell it at 70? How many at 80? How many at 100? Lot of people at 100. You saw there were few in 50, none in 70, few in 80, and quite a lot in 100. Now take this quiz. Now your neighbor has received a souvenir jug which is worth rupees 100 in the marketplace as a gift. Now he is offering the jug for sale. What is the most that you will be willing to pay? 100, 80, 70, 50. How many would pay 50? All those who wanted 100 now you will pay 50? That's what I see. How many would pay 70? Charitable, I must say. 80? 100? 100, one only. One person, 100. Okay. Now what was the rationale? I just want to ask you people, those who had put up them, what was the rationale of this decision? Why something which you wanted 100 for it, you wanted to give only 50 for it? Then there were certain skewed offers where people made decisions of 70, 80. Could you tell me what was your rationale when you went through this? Yeah. Because you wanted to sell it for 50. I mean, you wanted to buy the jug from your neighbor at 100.
Yeah, I was willing to buy the jug. I would say the cost of you on the marketplace.
Because it was the marketplace. Even though he was willing to give it to you at 50.
He was willing to give it for 50, I would purchase it.
No, but that's what I told you this thing. So I think you didn't get the question right. Because he was, they're saying you can take any money for it, 50, 100 this, Yeah, anybody. And people wanted to, why did people want to sell it cheap? You wanted to sell it cheap?
So I had a question about the bare minimum you agree with.
Okay. Anyway, the question was that you can get any price. That's why some people caught it. That's why they wanted to give it at 100 rupees and they wanted to buy it at 50 rupees. Now, that is what we have been always taught to do. That is what we always do. But do you know the reason why you do it? Why do we do certain things? Why you want it something cheap? Because one is you are greedy, you want it cheap, because that is a human nature which we discussed yesterday. What is the other reason? I beg your pardon? Wealth maximizing profits. But why? Why do you want to do that?
One's own possessions become more valuable.
Yes. That is the basic endowment effect is. Then when you own something, it is very valuable. Except when it is a neighbor's wife or something like that, that's a different thing. But when you are economically, looking at it, a value of a good increases when it becomes a part of one's endowment. This is what endowment effect is. That's why what we own, we really value it. Now all the 4 stories which I told you were all about, the first story was the client and the broker. The client owned the shares of Tisco. That's why he thought that he has a much more valuable asset than what the market is talking about. That's why at every point, even though the market was going up, he wanted more and more because he believed that the market is wrong. This is what normally happens, that when we are behaving certain things, we have to understand why we are being. What is the endowment effect doing to us? The second story was again on endowment effect. When business understand this very well, that's why they give you goods on trial. Because when he took it, he put it in his drawing room, then it became 15 days was enough for him, that it became a part of his endowment. It became a part of his possession. And that's why 15,000 rupees, which he was not willing to pay before, he thought he'll just buy it, but those 14 days took care of the endowment effect, and then he ultimately went and purchased. That's why a lot of businesses, they give you things on trial, which smart you are, one day you take a thing on trial and really return it back. The salesman would be surprised, oh, nobody comes to return it back. Only few people come. You could be one of that. The date was broken. Why? Because of endowment effect. That guy owned the stock and he knew that he will not learn anything more from the company. Company is not going to talk anything bad about itself, because when they have called an analyst meet, they try to brag about themselves. Which company is going to spend for cocktails, dinner, and then tell you that no, the company is not doing well. Not many people would do that. So they had called for that, and this person, because of the endowment effect, he wanted to go there because he owned it. Because what he owned for him was very important. And he was married to that stock, and that's why he thought, well, I'll break the date, but I'll go there and see this. And these are some of the, which I covered everything. And the fund manager's dilemma. which I talked about was he owned VisualSoft in big quantities, and he could not just bear the fact that the market was right or the company was right. He always believed that what he held, his conviction was so strong that he was not willing to take any sort of information which would challenge him. It's because of this endowment effect that we do a lot of mistakes. One is you always mentally overvalue the stocks you own because you always feel that the market is wrong. Be very skeptical about analyst meet and company visits. Why do analysts actually go for analyst meet? The number one reason, which some of you would do it also, is to find out what are the salary structures in the market, how much he is getting, So you go for that, first to find out. Secondly, you may be owning stocks, your companies may be owning stocks, and so you're supposed to cover those stocks. So you go there to listen good things about it. If you are covering that stock, then you will go to listen good things. So because you want to feel good, I hope the company says something good. Internally you know that if the company is going to spend on the drinks, on your dinner, what are they going to do? They're going to talk good about the company. And when you go there, after you eat the dinner and have those drinks, you will go back to your office, and what will you do? You will only write good about the company because you have a feel-good factor with you and you do that. And in that what happens, those people who did not own stocks or all those analysts who had only come to find out the salary structures in the market, they would also start talking about the company because like just now interest rates will go up. They think that availability heuristic will be so strong that they will also start believing, no, this is the right thing to do and this stock is very good. So knowingly or unknowingly, what happened is, with this analyst meet, the company has a band of salesmen, which it has created, and they all will go to their offices, and next day you will have the buy reports going in, and with the buy reports coming out, stocks would be bought by people, the stocks would start going up, and everyone would have a feel-good factor. Oh, this company visit, we went over there. But what has happened? It's a temporary blip which has happened, which ultimately over a period of time will die down. Satish owns 20,000 worth of stock of Tisco. A knowledgeable friend suggests to sell it and buy Jindal Steel. Satish does not sell Tisco, and over a period of time, Tisco drops by 30% and is worth only 14,000 rupees. Okay. Sahil owns 20,000 worth of Jindal Steel stock. A trusted friend suggests that he convert that into Tisco. Sahil does that. And after a year, Tisco is 30% down. It's 14,000. Now, who do you think feels worse? Sahil worse. Now, this is what is regret aversion. This is one thing which both have to feel equally, because the thing is the same. Both have lost the money. Both have lost 6,000. But why did you say Sahil was of regret aversion? Now, this is one of the reasons where we are not able to take decisions. It's because of regret aversion. Oh, why did I do this thing and that's why I did? No, it doesn't happen. It's not because they did that. Investment in Tisco was with that fellow didn't do. That is what you feel. But investment in Tisco has gone down. Both have lost equal amount of money. Both have lost. The thing, he should even feel bad. They saying, I should have listened to him. He should have. Actually, it's the same thing. But most of our challenges in life, they think we don't take on them, is because of regret aversion. And that is one bias everyone has to be very careful about. That don't cry over spilled milk. That's why they have been always telling, forget it, past is past, future is very different. And we all, every time want to get anchored to the past, what will happen if this happens? 20 years from now, you will be more disappointed by the things you didn't do than the ones you do. Always remember that. This was Mark Twain. And this is one thing where it should coax you to take any decision, because that way you are going forward. Otherwise you are decaying if you don't take those decisions. And If regret aversion is going to be there, don't even try to even again remember that. Okay, it's past is past, let me go ahead with the future. So now we come to the three sources of alpha for superior performance. All those people getting into the financial markets, this is something which you can argue into your organizations for them to change. Initially, we had the traditional fund managers or traditional investors who had only information coming from company management, who had information coming from insider sources, and they would make decisions based on that. When I entered the markets, it was something of that. You had certain shares of Tata Power and all. They would only dividends which they would give, or the expected dividends to increase or not. Fluctuations would be very small. Some of the stocks would go up or down based on information you could get by knowing the management, knowing the auditors. That's the way the markets function. Then things started improving, technology started coming in, and now today we have a whole lot of tools where information flow is at the click of a button. So now today everyone has got information coming to them. Someone was asking me this question yesterday. On the contrary, today we are in an information overload. Now that's what Barry also talked about, that you are in a choice overload. Now today if you see CNBC from morning to evening, ET Now from morning to evening, Bloomberg morning to evening. They all are talking. If you really combine all the information, you will have a buy on half the market and you will have a sell on half the markets. Today, you have Excel sheets. You are able to do a whole lot of things within the shortest possible time. Now, what is the competitive edge someone will have? There is no competitive edge. There was a competitive edge of getting information from other sources. Today, there is no competitive edge because everyone has got those tools. Everyone. Now today I showed you the TED Talks. It's not that it's my burden. You all can go to the net and listen to all these TED Talks. Everything is available to everyone. Now how can you have superior returns in the market if everything is there? Have you seen fund managers in the morning? They have their breakfast at a 5-star hotel. Then again they are busy talking to brokers, busy talking to companies. Lunch is also at another 5-star hotel. Then dinner, it is followed by few meetings, company visits. At the end also, they have dinner with other company sources, with analysts. And at the end, when they are going home, they are carrying a bunch of files with them to read, which they cannot read because in the evening they will go there and watch at the NASDAQ. Now, this is what most of these fund managers or analysts are just doing them. Yes, they are keeping themselves very busy. They are keeping themselves very occupied. But you think, are they getting anything, any knowledge out of it? Believe me, my experience is that no. On the contrary, that too much of knowledge, too much of information, this thing gets you into a much more severe decision paralysis mode, and you cannot ultimately make your choices. Now, this is the present. The future is, if you have looked at the markets, and you know the way the markets are behaving. Maybe if tomorrow I can cover this thing, where this thing we'll talk about how the stock markets function actually. Then the only way for your superior performance in the market is understanding your own behavior, understanding the behavior of others, the biases of others, and try to benefit when someone else is making a mistake in this financial jungle. If you are just going to be searching, someone asked me, how do I research? What is research? Research is knowing the unknown. Today, all the organizations, some of you would have got as research analyst jobs and all. You are not going to be doing research. You are going to be doing reporting. Remember one thing. Because what you'll do, you'll go to a company visit. The company guy, they keep special people who talk to the analyst. They have been told what to talk. You will listen to that. You'll go to your company. You'll make a report. You'll put it over there. You'll go to the boss. The boss will check whether they have the stocks, they have bought it for the clients. If they bought it for the clients, and if you made a good report, then the report will go. Otherwise, if they're saying, if it's a bad report, then they will ask you to change the report. So you are going to be actually not analysts, but actually reporters. And if you are going to be into the research, that means you have to know something, knowing the unknown. Give you a small example from Barry's thing. When he talked about, you go to the doctor tells you to do this. Now today, when you buy medicines from a doctor, the medicine is telling you not how it will cure you, but there is a warning that how it can harm you. Now can you imagine, you are paying money for the medicine, and first it is going to tell you that how it is going to harm you, not it is going to. So you are in a totally fictitious world. And the real research is the medicine changing? How many of you have gone to the dentist for painful tooth extractions? Few. Your children will never go there. Because today, the medicine industry, the dentist industry is changing from curative to preventive. Now, why are so many vaccine companies coming up? Why are companies like VAT, Aventis and all are really favorites of the stock market? Because they have gone to preventive medicine. None of your children are going to go for painful tooth extractions. But yes, you will go for regular dental checkups, where in our time we never had that also. So, that is going to be the real research which you have to concentrate on. How the world is changing around you. And for that reason, you don't require to know finance. You require to know so many other like behavioral finance, physics, chemistry, so many other avenues you have to look at if you are going to be doing a research on a company or a product or on a business. And if you are going to be looking at analyzing businesses, most important is going to be how is the environment there. And that is where your behavioral finance is going to be very helpful to you.